Hi, this is injury attorney Anh Phoong, and this is what you need to know. Today we're going to talk about auto accidents and spinal injuries related to auto accidents. It is one of the most common injuries that people can sustain from an auto accident, and lots of times it can start off with just an ache, soreness. Sometimes if it's a sharp pain and it's immediate, it could be a fracture. A fracture, you will know immediately. It will get diagnosed in the emergency room. It'll be excruciating pain. You're going to feel it for sure. But beyond having a fracture, you can still have some permanent and serious damage to your spine from an auto accident. And like I said, lots of times in the beginning, it's just soreness. It might even have radiating pain. You might have sharp pain. You might have dull pain. If the pain lasts more than generally 8 to 12 weeks or 16 weeks. And first of all, let me just make sure I make a disclosure. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying I'm a doctor. I'm just talking about my experience that I see in handling auto accident claims, and I see how these spinal injuries play out and people who are treated by doctors. So lots of times what happens after several weeks, 14 weeks or so, if the patient does not get better, in order to diagnose and find an objective finding, there needs to be some kind of diagnostics to see why the pain hasn't gone away. And lots of times that'll be in the form of an MRI or a CT scan, and you can ask your doctor for that. And so that will show what's going on in the disc specifically, different than an X-ray. X-ray just shows the bone. So when you get an MRI, you can see what's going on in the disc, and it may be a abnormal finding. And if there is an abnormal finding, then that helps your doctor see, okay, we'll figure out why, okay, that's why you're still in pain. If there's a protrusion, if there's a disc herniation, if there's an annular tear, any of those things may warrant further treatment, further aggressive treatment. And that might be in the form of pain management. And pain management specialists, what they do is, obviously you've had pain that's pretty chronic over 6 months, and it can be in the form of, medication, pain medication, acupuncture. There's different type of injections, epidural steroid injections, and ultimately, if a patient tries to do pain management, it doesn't work, then they can be seen or request to be seen by an orthopedic surgeon. An orthopedic surgeon specifically works on your spine, and they're kind of at the top. Like, they're going to be able to say, well, you've been hurting for a year, 2 years, whatnot, and you may or may not be a candidate for surgery. And they specialize in, spine surgeries, whether it be your neck or your back. So that, in a nutshell, is, the spinal injuries related to an auto accident. Please make sure that if you do have any injuries in your spine, that you seek immediate medical treatment.